Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Hope everyone's having a good day. For those of you that are in Southern California, you probably had a wet day like we did. It was really pouring, like pretty impressive for here earlier today. Probably stopped around maybe 1 o'clock or so here, maybe a little later. But when it's coming down real hard, even when I have the roll-up door closed, it comes in and goes right under that door, and it'll come up to here. I mean, it's not like deep or anything, but obviously, but yeah, a couple of spots of water will kind of form like little mini rivers and make it about that far. You know, it's not like the shop is flooding, but definitely get some water in here. No big deal. I'll in the morning, if it's still some standing there, I'll move these cars out and sweep the water out. Speaking of rain, it's starting to rain again. How about that? Thought it was supposed to be done. Well, anyway, there goes that. So anyway, let's talk about what I actually did today. I know you guys didn't tune in for a weather report here. So let me come back to that. The wiring for this car, I believe, is like 95+% done. Needless to say, with no motor in it, the wiring back here won't be totally done until it's connected to the motor, but everything's here. I need to remind the owner, or Ben, if you watch this, when you come later this week, I need that stainless steel or chrome firewall piece or pieces, because before the engine can go in, I need to get that all fitted and cover the wiring and stuff with that. So anyway, yeah, I will text you though to also remind you. But yeah, so wiring's done here, back here, other than, like I said, the engine. The reason I say it's not 100% is I still have to connect these 3 wires up underneath here, which go to the headlight dimmer switch, kind of hidden behind that panel, but I think I can get at them enough. I still haven't figured out how to take these panels out. A couple of people had good suggestion that the speaker grills probably pop off and then expose some screws. But if I can get that there connected without taking that off, even better. So, as you can see, I did get a speedometer today, like I mentioned, from Ryan Osley at Orange Empire Speedometers. Correct speedometer here for a 62. Looks amazing. So got that in, got it all wired up, and got some goodies from Wolfsburg West, namely a wiper switch, which I'm going to, which is wired up to be the on-off switch for the electric fuel pump. So that's all wired up. And what else? Trying to think what else I got from Wolfsburg. Got the flasher relay, so I went ahead and wired that up. I got yesterday, I don't know if I mentioned that, I got this support piece here that goes from the underside of the cowl down to the floor of the trunk here from Brian Washburn, but I didn't notice at the time, but it's actually a later one. On the later ones, they don't have a angle, like a right angle on the bottom. They're just flat, like from top to bottom. So had to make probably not really going to be able to see it, but I had to make a little like adapter piece to put it in there and attach it on the bottom where the correct one would go. No big deal, but just a little very light metal fabrication there. Anyway, so yeah, I got that in and went ahead and attached the flasher unit to it, wired it up. And so yeah, I think the wiring up here is done, other than I will go in and, now that it's done, and do some housekeeping, straighten things up a little bit, stuff like that, of course, make it look a little better. The headlights, got those all wired up today, and so I went ahead and wired up the city lights, running lights, whatever you want to call those, are now the turn signals. So those are wired up like that. I think originally I was thinking that there is like a halo in here that I wanted to wire up, but it's got some weird control box on it that I don't know what it's even made to do, like do different colors or something. I don't know that there would be any way to hook that thing up as a turn signal, so I just went ahead and hooked the city lights up as turn signals. So these are all wired up now. And yeah, like I said, I think that's about it for the wiring, other than those couple little things, straightening it up, the dimmer switch, and then of course the motor once it goes in. So that's it for that. So spent most of the day on that. And then at some point today showed up from our friends at J-Bugs, the complete chrome tin, can't even talk, chrome trim, or chrome tin. Let me try that a third time. Chrome tin for the motor. So the owner wanted everything chrome. So he got it. There it is, everything. This piece, the front engine tin, is not on yet because it won't fit on with my stand. So at some point before the motor goes in the car, I'll have to put the motor on the ground, or well, not on the ground, on a dolly, and fit that piece and make sure it fits, and that this snorkel for the doghouse system will stick out of it. So on early non-doghouse cars, sometimes that thing kind of hits the body. These cars are not really made to have that snorkel sort of sticking out, which would go about right there. So you pretty much always have to trim the engine to body seal right there for that snorkel to go through. And then, yeah, sometimes you got to do a little trimming of some of the metal in there. Not a big deal, but. So when this car came in, that seal was pretty much just like completely shredded. And then this seal around here was non-existent. It didn't even have the front engine tin there. I think it was missing the rear one. I think was also missing. Yeah, I was missing a bunch of engine tin. So this thing would have run super hot. As you guys know, these things really rely on the engine compartment being sealed up so that it's drawing that fresh air in where it's intended to draw in from here. What happens is, for those of you that don't know, if the engine, like you got a bunch of engine tin pieces missing, it'll suck hot air up from, you know, kind of the bottom side of the engine, basically like the exhaust and stuff like that. And then it'll use that hot air to cool the engine through the fan. So yeah, they always run hot if you don't have all the tin. But anyway, it's going to have it all now, and it's all going to be chrome. So hopefully tomorrow my paint shop will have my paint that I having matched to that color. All this tin will come off and stuff, and then we'll give this case a final cleaning, and then I'll have my painter paint it. So it's going to be the paint I'm having mixed up is base coat, clear coat, so two-stage paint. So it'll look amazing on here, and it'll be very, very durable, automotive grade paint. It's pretty impervious to, you know, oil, gas, all that stuff. So it's gonna look amazing. So I think I'm gonna do, well, obviously I'm doing the engine case. I think I'll do the generator stand as well, and then I think everything else will. I thought about painting the alternator, but I think maybe that would be too much. So I think we're gonna leave this aluminum and then paint the stand, the case itself, and then pretty much everything else will be chrome. So it's gonna be pretty blingy, that's for sure. So yeah, anyway, the tin actually all fit pretty well. You know, it is impy tin, and so sometimes it can be a bit of a struggle. You know, it doesn't fit as well as factory tin. You know, I think everyone knows that. This went on pretty well. When this tin fits the worst is on aftermarket aluminum cases, because they are a bit taller on the top here to give clearance for a stroker crank. And so the fan shroud fits terrible on those, and you have to do a ton of trimming along the whole bottom here, and this relief for this case hardware and stuff like that. They fit terrible, but this being a stock case, it actually fits on there pretty nice. So yeah, I didn't really have to do much tweaking at all. I did have to sort of snip the edges of the hole where the spark plug holes are, so that the tin in between here can go back a little further. These manifolds are a bit thicker than the stock dual port manifolds, so they require a little bit more clearance in this area here. So you pretty much just snip the tin here and there on the other side, and then fold that, basically turns into a flap, just kind of fold it back a little ways. So still sealed, but gives you a little bit more clearance. Oh, I think I forgot to mention, I also got him some better looking valve covers. He had stock valve covers that somebody put breathers on the very top. So I don't know, somebody at some point must have had those coming through the top engine tin, the cylinder tins, or maybe they were installed in a buggy that some of this tin was like chopped. I don't really know what was going on there, but anyway, with the rest of this motor being such as it is, I thought this thing really needs some bolt-on fancy valve covers. So there you go. We might even do some paint and detail on those. Not sure yet, but so I think that is actually it for today, guys. Bit of a short episode, pretty much just working on this green custom Beetle here, wiring and engine tin. So not much else to talk about. So with that, I will say goodbye, and I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Bye.